Good morning, students. Happy to see you again. This is also your grammar class. Okay? Okay, look at this sentence. The cat is sleeping in the sun. The cat is sleeping in the sun. Children, does this make sense? Can you call this a sentence? Yes. What is a sentence? A sentence is a set of words that is complete in itself, typically containing a subject and predicate. Okay, what is a sentence? It is a set of words that is complete in itself, typically containing a subject and predicate. What is a subject? The subject is what or whom the sentence is about. The subject is what or whom the sentence is about. Predicate. The predicate tells us something about the subject. Okay, the predicate tells us something about the subject. So the subject of the sentence is what or whom the sentence is about. In the sentence, the cat is sleeping in the sun. The word cat is the subject. Which is the subject? The cat is the subject. What is a predicate? A predicate is a part of a sentence or a clause that tells us what the subject is doing or what the subject is. Okay, let's take the same sentence. Is sleeping in the sun is the predicate. Okay, is sleeping in the sun is the predicate. It's dictating what the cat is doing. Okay, what the cat is doing? Sleeping in the sun. So that is the predicate. Subject, the cat. Predicate, sleeping in the sun. The main word in a predicate is a verb. Okay, the main word in a predicate is a verb. Okay, generally, what do you know about the verb? Generally, you say verb is an action word. Verb is an action word. Okay, in today's class, we are going to discuss all about the verbs. Are you ready, children? Okay, first I am going to give introduction for the verbs and then we move on to the topic. Okay, let's start that. Verbs perform different functions. Okay, verbs perform different functions. First one, what are the different functions? Some verbs show the action of the subject. First point, some verbs show the action of the subject. Second point, some verbs link the subject to the noun or adjective in the predicate. Okay, some verbs link the subject to the noun or adjective in the predicate. Next, some verbs work as helping verbs with main verbs. Okay, some verbs work as helping verbs with main verbs. Okay, action words or action verbs tell what the subject of a sentence does. Okay, action words or action verbs tell what the subject of a sentence does. We know that action words are called verbs. Okay, how the action can be? The action can be physical or mental. Okay, the action can be physical or mental. That is, an action word can tell us about an action that can be seen. Okay, action word can tell us about an action that can be seen. Example, try, slap, jump, run. Okay, that can be seen. Next, that cannot be seen. An action that cannot be seen. Example, forget, think. Okay, action that cannot be seen. Linking verbs are also called being verbs. Okay, linking verbs are also called being verbs. Linking verbs do not show action. Linking verbs do not show action. Linking verbs are also called being verbs. It doesn't show action. Instead, they link or join the subject to a word or words in the predicate. So, linking verbs are used to link or join the subject with to a word in the predicate. Okay, linking verbs also tell us what the subject is. Linking verbs also tell us what the subject is. Look at this example. She is a girl. She is a girl. Here she is a subject. Okay, she is the subject, a girl words. So here is a linking word which link the subject with the words in the predicate. So she is a girl. Here she subject is a girl, predicate is linking word. I think now you are clear about the verbs and the linking verbs. Say it. Okay. Underline the verbs in these sentences. Salman has a friend George. Second, they are happy. Third, they play football in the afternoon. Fourth, we bought an umbrella. Fifth, who can open this lock? Okay, so underline the verbs in these sentences. Remember, what are the functions of verbs? First one, show the action of the subject. Next one, some verbs link the subject to the noun or adjective in the predicate. Next, some verbs work as helping verbs with main verbs. Keep this in mind and identify the verb in the given sentences. Okay. Are all the above verbs performing the same function? No. In the first sentence, the verb has tells us that Salman possesses a friend. Okay, which is the verb in the first sentence? Has. Okay, in the first sentence, the verb has tells us that Salman possesses a friend. In the second sentence, the verb is are. Okay, in the second sentence, the verb are tells us their state of being. Okay, that is linking verb, the state of being. That is, they are happy. How they are? They are happy. It tells us their state of being. The third sentence, which is the verb play. Okay, the verb play tells us about the action they perform. Play is an action word. The fourth sentence, bought, also is an action word. The fifth sentence, open, tells us about the action. Okay. So what is a verb? A verb is a word or a group of words that is used to denote an action, event, state of being or possession. Okay. A verb is a word or a group of words that is used to denote an action, event, state of being or possession. Examples, we played the match with great enthusiasm. Okay, here which is a verb? Played. Next, they are unhappy with the project. They are unhappy with the project. Here which is a verb? Or is a state of being. Next, Veronica has a younger sister. Veronica has a younger sister. Here which is a verb? Has. Has tells us that Veronica possesses a sister. Next, we are going to see about the kinds of verbs. Okay, verbs can be of different types based on their function and their structure. Verbs can be of different types based on their function and their structure. How can we divide the verbs based on their functions? Look at this table. Verbs divided into two. One is auxiliary verbs. Second one is main verbs. Okay, verbs divided into two. Auxiliary verbs, main verbs. Again, auxiliary verbs divided into two. One is primary auxiliaries. Second one is modal auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries, modal auxiliaries. Okay, based on functions, verbs divided into two. One is auxiliary verbs. Second one is main verb. Again, auxiliary verbs divided into two. Primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. First, let's see about the main verbs. What are main verbs? Main verbs are the primary verbs in a sentence. Okay, main verbs are the primary verbs in a sentence. They show the actual action performed by the subject. They show the actual action performed by the subject. They can be used by themselves in a sentence. Main verbs can be used by themselves in a sentence. Okay, look at the following examples. The nightingale sings sweetly. The nightingale sings sweetly. Here which is the verb? Sings. Okay. Subject nightingale. Okay. Sings is a main verb. Okay. Sings is a main verb in this sentence. So sings is an action word. So it shows the action performed by the subject nightingale. Okay. Are you clear, children? So main verbs show the actual action performed by the subject. So here sings main verb, action performed by the subject nightingale. Second, Adam bakes delicious cakes. Adam bakes delicious cakes. Here which is the verb? Bakes. Okay. Subject Adam. So bakes is the action word, shows the action performed by the subject Adam. Are you clear? So main verbs are the primary verbs in a sentence. They show the actual action performed by the subject. They can be used by themselves in a sentence. Next, auxiliary verbs. What is the next type? Auxiliary verbs. So auxiliary verbs are verbs that are used before the main verb. Okay, listen here. Auxiliary verbs are verbs that are used before the main verb to show different tense forms and the person and number of the subjects. Auxiliary verbs are verbs that are used before the main verb. Why we used before the main verb? To show different tense. Different tense means whether the sentence is in present tense or past tense. Okay. And the person, whether we are referring first person, second person or third person. And number of the subject. Number means singular or plural. Okay. Auxiliary verbs are verbs that are used before the main verb to show different tense forms and the person and number of the subjects. Look at the following examples. Vipul is playing the violin. Okay, Vipul is playing the violin. Here which is the main verb? Play. Okay, auxiliary verb is, because auxiliary verbs are used before the main verb. The play main verb is auxiliary verb. Okay, then to show different tense form. How we find the tense in this sentence? Look at the sentence. Is used here. So is we used for the present tense. We use is for the present tense. To the main verb ing is added. So that means the continuous tense. Okay, the sentence is in continuous tense. So is used for present tense, ing continuous tense. So here the sentence is in present continuous tense. Okay, different tense form. What tense the sentence is? The sentence is in present continuous tense. Okay, and the person and number of the subjects. Here Vipul is the subject. So whether Vipul singular or plural? Singular. So sentence is singular. So we use the auxiliary verb is. Okay, are you clear now? Auxiliary verbs are verbs that are used before the main verb to show different tense forms and the person and number of the subjects. Next example, Gajini and Rudrani were walking in the park. Okay, Gajini and Rudrani were walking in the park. Here, which is the main verb? Walk. Before what the word is given? Where. So, where is the auxiliary verb. Okay, where we use for past tense. We use where for past tense. So here Gajini and Rudrani, the subject is in plural. The subject is in plural. So we use the plural auxiliary verb where. Are you clear, children? So subject is in plural. So we use auxiliary verb where. So Gajini and Rudrani were walking in the park. Past tense, ing means continuous. So the sentence is in past continuous tense. The sentence is in past continuous tense. We divide the auxiliary verbs into two types. Okay, we divide the auxiliary verbs into two types. What are they? Primary auxiliaries and modals. Primary auxiliaries and modals. First, let's see about the primary auxiliary verbs. The verbs be, have, and do are called primary auxiliaries. The verbs be, have, and do are called primary auxiliaries. These help the main verb show the number and person of its subject. These help the main verb to show the number and person of its subject. These are also called helping verbs. Okay, these are also called helping verbs. So, what are the primary auxiliary verbs? Be, have, and do are called primary auxiliaries. Look at these examples. I am reading an interesting book. I am reading an interesting book. Here main verb read. Okay. Am auxiliary verb. Be form auxiliary verb. Okay. Be form auxiliary verb. Second, the students have completed their homework. The students have completed their homework. Here main verb complete. Before auxiliary verb have is used. So that is have form auxiliary verb. That is have form auxiliary verb. Third one, her work does not need improvement. Her work does not need improvement. Here does is the auxiliary verb. Okay, does is the auxiliary verb, that is do form auxiliary verb. Am, be form auxiliary verb. Have form auxiliary verb. Does, do form auxiliary verb. Primary auxiliary verbs have different forms. Okay, primary auxiliary verbs have different forms. So what are primary auxiliary verbs? Be, have, and do. Okay, and they have different forms. What are they? Look at this table. Primary auxiliary forms in present tense and in past tense. First, take the be form. So, what are the be form auxiliary verbs? For the present tense, we use am, is, and are. Okay, for the present tense, be form auxiliary verbs am, is, and are. Am is used for the subject I. Okay, am is used for the subject I. Is used for singular subject in the present tense. Are is used for plural subject in the present tense. Okay. Next, be form past tense auxiliary verbs are was and were. Be form past tense auxiliary verbs are was and were. In the past tense, was is used for singular subject and were is used for plural subject. Okay, was singular subject, were plural subject. Next, have form present tense auxiliary verbs are has and have. Has is used for singular subject and have is used for plural subject. Okay, has singular subject, have plural subject. Next, have form past tense auxiliary verb is had. Okay, have form past tense auxiliary verb had. So for singular and plural in the past tense, we use the auxiliary verb had. Next, do form. Do form present tense auxiliary verbs does and do. Does and do. Does is used for singular subject and do is used for plural subject as well as for the subject I. Okay, does is used for singular subject and do is used for plural subject as well as the subject I. Do form past tense auxiliary verb is did. For singular and plural in the past tense, for the do form we use did. Let's see the following examples to get clear about this table. First one, subject I. I am from New Zealand. This is what form of verb? This is a be form verb. Okay, I am from New Zealand. I subject, am auxiliary verb. Okay. He is 20 years old. He subject is auxiliary verb. So he singular subject, singular auxiliary verb is used here. He is 20 years old. Next, we are intelligent. We are intelligent. We subject, plural subject, so we use the auxiliary verb are. Okay, we are intelligent. This is in present tense. Coming to the past tense. She was a nurse. She was a nurse. She, singular subject, so was is used here. Okay, she was a nurse in the past tense. They were cousins. They were cousins. They, plural subject. So, plural auxiliary verb is used here in the past tense. Okay, they were cousins. This is the be form auxiliary verbs. So, these are some examples for be form auxiliary verbs. Am, is, are for present tense, was and were for past tense. Next, have form verbs. Have form auxiliary verbs. Has, have and had. Has and have for present tense and had for past tense. Okay. Examples. She has quite dark hair. Okay. She, singular subject. So, we use singular auxiliary verb has. Okay. She has quite dark hair. They have two dogs. They have two dogs. They, plural subject. So, we use plural auxiliary verb have. They have two dogs. In the past tense, I had a strange dream last night. I had a strange dream last night. I, singular subject, in the past tense had is used. Next, we had a wonderful meal. We had a wonderful meal. We, plural subject, in the past tense we use had. So, for present tense, has and have. For the past tense, for both singular and plural, we use the have form verb had. Next, do form auxiliary verbs. For present tense, does and do. For past tense, did. Examples, I do my laundry on Saturdays. Okay, I do my laundry on Saturdays. I, subject, do. For I subject, the do form verb we use do for the present tense. So, I used do here. Next, they do their chores when they arrive home. They do their chores when they arrive home. They, plural subject. So, I use the do form verb do here. Next, he does nothing all day. He does nothing all day. He, singular subject. So, I use the do form verb does here. Okay, he does nothing all day. This is in present tense. Next, coming to the past tense. What are the do form verb we have in the past tense? For singular and plural, we should use only did. Examples, I did my homework. Okay, I did my homework. We did everything we could to help. We did everything we could to help. Have you understood, children? Be form, have form and do form auxiliary verbs? Yes. Next, modal auxiliary verbs. Modal auxiliary verbs. Verbs like can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should and must are called modal auxiliaries. Okay. What are the verbs? Can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should and must are called modal auxiliaries. They are always used with main verbs and can never be used as a full verb in a sentence. These auxiliary verbs are used only with the main verbs and can never be used as a full verb in a sentence. That means it does not act as individually. It used only with the main verbs. Examples, you may play in the evening if you finish your homework in the morning. You may play in the evening if you finish your homework in the morning. Here which is the main verb? Play. Before may is used. So, may is the modal auxiliary verb. Okay. Next, I can run for 10 kilometers at a stretch. I can run for 10 kilometers at a stretch. Here main verb run. Can is a modal auxiliary verb. Okay. Last example, we should ask our teacher for help with the project. We should ask our teacher for help with the project. Here main verb ask. Should is a modal auxiliary verb. So verbs like can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should and must are called modal auxiliaries. Next I am going to explain the usage of modal auxiliaries. Okay. Modal auxiliaries are used to express permission, ability, suggestion, possibility or necessity. Okay. To ask permission, to know the ability, to give suggestion, to show possibility or necessity, we use modal auxiliary verbs. Okay. First one, may. We use may to ask for and give permission. To ask permission or give permission, we use the modal auxiliary verb may. Let's look at these examples. May I come in, madam? Okay, here may is used for asking permission. Okay, may I come in, madam? Next, you may come in, giving permission. Here, may is used to give permission. So, may is used to ask for and give permission. Next, can and could. We use can and could to show ability. We use can and could to show ability. Examples, Ramiza can play the guitar well. Okay, Ramiza can play the guitar well. He could solve the question paper on his own. He could solve the question paper on his own. So, can and could to show ability. Next, should. We use should for giving advice or suggestions. Okay, should for giving advice or suggestions. Examples, we should never tell lies. We should never tell lies. You should always walk on the footpath. You should always walk on the footpath. So, we use should for giving advice or suggestions. Next, may, might and could to denote possibility. Possibility, we use may, might and could. Examples, there may be a general strike tomorrow. There may be a general strike tomorrow. So, there is a possibility. There may be a general strike tomorrow. Next example, the substitute fielder might play in the next match. So, there is also a possibility. So, the substitute fielder might play in the next match. There could be heavy rainfall this evening. There could be heavy rainfall this evening. So, there is a possibility. So, there is a possible for heavy rainfall. So, we use could here. May, might and could to denote possibility. Must. We use must to show necessity. Okay, where we use must to show necessity. Look at these examples. You must attend the assembly every day. So, this is a necessity. So, you want to do that. You must attend the assembly every day. We must win our next match to qualify for the finals. Okay, we must win our next match to qualify for the finals. So, there is a necessity. Okay, if you win the next match only, you will qualify for the final. So, we must win our next match to qualify for the finals. Next, we use will, shall and would to show future actions. Will, shall and would to show the future actions. Examples, we shall meet our principal tomorrow. For future action, we shall meet our principal tomorrow. I shall not attend school on Friday. Okay, I shall not attend school on Friday. The teacher said that she would give us each a chocolate for the right answers. The teacher said that she would give us each a chocolate for the right answers. He will not reach on time for the show. Okay, he will not reach on time for the show. So, we use will, shall and would to show future actions. Next, we use will and shall to show our intentions. To show our intentions also we use will and shall. Examples: I shall never tell a lie again. Intention: I shall never tell a lie again. We shall trek all the way up to the top of the hill. We shall trek all the way up to the top of the hill. Next, I will win this match. Intention. Okay, I will win this match. I will sing a song for his farewell. I will sing a song for his farewell. So we use will and shall to show our intentions. So we use may to ask for and give permission, can and could to show ability, should for giving advice, may, might and could for possibility, must to show necessity, will, shall and would to show future actions, will and shall also to show our intentions. Next, to form negative sentences, we add not to the modal auxiliaries. Okay, to make the sentence negative, after the auxiliary verb, we want to add not. Examples: he could not solve the difficult sum. This is a negative sentence. Okay, he could not solve the difficult sum. Here, could is the auxiliary verb. After that, we add not to make the sentence negative. Next, you will not play unless you are told to. You will not play unless you are told to. Main verbs, regular and irregular verbs. Depending on how they form their simple past and past participle forms, verbs can be divided into two groups. One is regular and then irregular verbs. What are regular verbs? Verbs that form their simple past or past participle forms by adding d or ed to the main verb are called regular verbs. Okay, that is V1, V2, V3. Okay, by adding d or ed to the main verb are called regular verbs. Examples: share, shared, care, cared, walk, walk, shout, shouted. So here we add d or ed to make the past tense. These verbs are called regular verbs. Yes. Next one, irregular verbs. Verbs that form their past or past participle forms by changing their inside vowel or using different words are called irregular verbs. That is sit, sat, go, went, think, thought, drink, drank. Okay, verbs that form their past tense or past participle form by changing their inside vowel or using different words are called irregular verbs. Adding d or ed to the main verb are called regular verbs. By changing their inside vowel or using different words are called irregular. Next, we are going to see about transitive and intransitive verbs. Chapter 11, transitive and intransitive verbs. I think now we are clear about main verbs, auxiliary verbs. In that auxiliary verbs, we have primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliary verbs. Now we are going to see about transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay. Read these sentences. Can you spot the difference between the two? First one, Jayan gave. Second, Rahman sleeps soundly. Okay. Can you spot the difference between the two? Yes. Both sentences have a verb and a subject. Is it? Both sentences have a verb and a subject. But the first sentence does not make complete sense, while the second sentence does. Okay, does the first sentence give complete sense? No, but the second sentence gives us complete sense. Object of a verb. Look at the sentences in the table. First sentence, Samantha threw the ball. Samantha threw the ball. Second sentence, my mother hugged my brother. My mother hugged my brother. Here, the first sentence, which is the subject, Samantha. Verb, threw. The ball is the object. The second sentence, my mother is the subject, hugged is the verb, and my brother is the object. How we identify the object? What did Samantha throw in the first sentence? Samantha threw the ball. Second sentence. Who did my mother hug? My mother hugged my brother. So objects can be identified by answering the question who or what to the verbs. Very clear, children? Objects can be identified by answering the question who or what to the verbs. In the first sentence, what did Samantha throw? Samantha threw the ball. My mother hugged my brother. So who did my mother hug? My mother hugged my brother. So here in the first sentence, the ball is the object. And in the second sentence, my brother is the object. Objects can be identified by answering the question who or what. How we identify the objects? We identified the objects by answering the question who or what to the verbs. Okay. Direct and indirect objects. In some sentences, a verb can have two objects. Okay, in some sentences, a verb can have two objects. Look at this sentence. Samantha threw Hema the ball. Okay, Samantha threw Hema the ball. Here, the direct object answers the question what. Okay, what did Samantha throw? What is the answer? The ball. So, the direct object receives the action of the verb and is directly affected by it. So, direct object receives the action directly from the verb. Next, the indirect object answers the question to whom. Okay, Samantha threw the ball to whom? This answer, Hema. Okay, Samantha threw the ball to whom? Hema. It also answers the question for whom. So, the indirect object receives the direct object. The indirect object receives the direct object. So, answer what direct object, whom indirect object. Very clear, children? So, here Samantha threw Hema the ball. Here the ball is a direct object. Hema is the indirect object. One more example. Nitin told Manu a joke. Okay, Nitin told what? A joke. So, a joke is the direct object. Okay, Nitin told a joke to whom? To Manu. So, Manu is an indirect object. So, direct object answers the question what? Indirect object answers the question to whom. Okay, the indirect object comes before the direct object. The indirect object comes before the direct object. So, direct and indirect objects are normally placed in this manner. Subject plus verb plus indirect object after the direct object. Okay, the indirect object comes before the direct object. Look at this example. I bought my brother a basketball. Okay, I bought my brother a basketball. Here I bought what? A basketball. So, okay, I bought a basketball to whom? My brother. So, a basketball, direct object, my brother, indirect object. Okay. However, the direct object can be placed before the indirect object if a preposition is used with the indirect object. Okay. However, what is the structure actually? Subject plus verb plus indirect object plus direct object. Okay. So, in some situation when the preposition is used with the indirect object, the direct object can be placed before the indirect object. In such cases, they take this structure. The structure can be changed. How? Subject plus verb plus direct object plus preposition plus indirect object. Listen, when the preposition is used with the indirect object, the direct object can be placed before the indirect object. At that time, the structure form may be changed. Subject plus verb plus direct object plus preposition plus indirect object. What is the normal structure form? Subject plus verb plus indirect object plus direct object. Look at the following examples. Samantha threw the ball to Hema. Okay, Samantha threw what? The ball. To whom? To Hema. So here subject, verb plus direct object plus preposition to and then indirect object. Okay. My grandfather narrated the story to me. Okay, my grandfather narrated the story to me. Here my grandfather narrated what? The story. To whom? To me. So here the preposition to is used. So the structure form subject plus verb plus direct object plus preposition plus indirect object. Okay. The chef cooked delicious pasta for the guests. The chef cooked delicious pasta for the guests. So the chef cooked what? Delicious pasta. Direct object. And then to whom? To the guests. So here the preposition for is used. So subject, verb, direct object, preposition and indirect object. Okay. Next, some verbs need objects to complete their meaning while others do not. So some verbs need objects to complete their meaning. Next, see transitive verbs. Transitive verbs are those verbs which need an object to complete their action. So what are transitive verbs? Transitive verbs are verbs which need an object, okay, to complete their action. Example, Sindhu won a silver medal. Sindhu won a silver medal. Here won what? A silver medal. So here the object is need to complete the action. So this is verb is a transitive verb. The police caught the thief. Okay, the police caught the thief. Caught whom? The thief. So here the object is need to complete the action. Okay, this caught is the transitive verb. What are intransitive verbs? Intransitive verbs are those verbs which do not need any object to complete their action. Okay, transitive verbs need an object to complete their action. Intransitive verbs do not need any object to complete their action. Examples, the child sleeps all day. Okay, the child sleeps what? The child sleeps to whom? So the object does not need to complete the action. Next, the birds are chirping. The birds are chirping. Here also the object is not need to complete the action. So these verbs are called intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs are verbs which need an object to complete their action. Intransitive verbs are verbs which do not need any object to complete their action. Next, verbs of incomplete predication. Okay, read these sentences. They are Harry's seems. The teacher looked. All of these sentences are incomplete. Yes or no? Yes. Now read the sentences again. They are happy. Harry seems tired. The teacher looked angry. Okay. Now the sentences are complete. Is it? However, they have not taken any object. Okay. However, they have not taken any object. They are neither answers to what nor whom in relation to the verb. Okay. There are neither answers to what nor whom in relation to the verb. There are some intransitive verbs that do not take any object. Okay. Intransitive verbs that do not take any object but need other words to convey their meaning. Okay, intransitive verbs do not take any object but need other words to convey their meaning. These are intransitive verbs of incomplete predication. How can we call this? These are intransitive verbs of incomplete predication. The word or words that are used to complete their meaning are called complements. The word or words that are used to complete their meaning are called complements. Complements may also be used to describe an object of transitive verbs. Complements also used to describe an object of intransitive verbs. Examples: the little girl seems lost. Okay, the complement here is lost. The complement lost describes the subject girl. Okay, the little girl seems lost. The High Court held the convict guilty. Okay, the High Court held the convict guilty. Here the High Court held whom? The convict. So the convict is the object. Guilty describes the object, the convict. So in the second sentence, complements is used to describe an object, the convict. Next, subject and object complements. Okay, complements can be of two types. One is subject, another one is object. Okay, what are subject complements? Complements that tell us more about the subject of the verb are called subject complements. Okay, complements that tell more about the subject are called subject complements. Here, her mother is happy. So here complement is happy, tells the subject. So this is subject complement. Vijay's grandfather was in the army. Okay, in the army is a complement. So tells about the subject. Next, Geeta Chandran is a gifted dancer. Geeta Chandran is a gifted dancer. A gifted dancer is a complement which tells about the subject Geeta Chandran. Okay, complements that tell us more about the subject are called subject complements. Next, object complements. Complements that tells us more about the objects of the verbs are known as object complements. Okay, complements that tell us more about the objects of the verb are known as object complements. Examples: the class teacher made Sushil the captain. Okay, the class teacher made whom? Sushil. So Sushil is the object. The captain is the complement. So it tells about the object Sushil. So the captain is the object complement. Okay, children. Next example, they named the baby Sarah. Okay, they named the baby Sarah. Here they named whom? What is the answer? The baby. So the baby is the object. Sarah complement. Okay, Sarah tells more about the object, the baby. So Sarah is the object complement. Next, the council members elected Mihir head boy. Okay, the council members elected Mihir head boy. Here the council members elected whom? Mihir. So object Mihir. Head boy complement. So head boy complement tells about the object Mihir. So this is an object complement. Subject complement tells more about the subject. Object complement tells more about the object. Remember, verbs can be of two types based on their function, main verbs and auxiliary verbs. Main verbs are the primary verbs in a sentence and can be used by themselves. Auxiliary verbs are helping verbs. Auxiliary verbs can be of two types. One is primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. Verbs can be of two types based on their structure. One is regular and irregular. Regular verbs form their simple past and past participle forms by adding d or ed to the main verb. Irregular verbs form their simple past and past participle forms by changing their inside vowels or using different words. Verbs can be of transitive or intransitive. Transitive verbs need an object to complete their meaning. Transitive verbs can have two objects, direct and indirect. Intransitive verbs do not need an object to complete their meaning. Some intransitive verbs need complements to complete their sense. Complements can be subject complements or object complements. It's time to discuss the book exercises. Chapter 10, Verbs, page number 61. A. Underline the primary auxiliaries and write if they are used as helping verbs or main verbs. Okay. I am doing my homework now. Okay. I am doing my homework now. Here, which is the primary auxiliary? What are the primary auxiliaries we have? Be form, have form and do form. In that be form, am, is, are, was, were. The have form, has, have and had. The do form, does, do and did. Okay, in this sentence, which is the primary auxiliary? Yes, am is the primary auxiliary. Okay, how it used in the sentence? Whether main verb or helping verb? Yes, it is used in the helping verb. Next, the visitors at the exhibition were happy. The visitors at the exhibition were happy. Here, which is the primary auxiliary? Were. Okay, it is used as a main verb. It is used as the main verb. Next, he does his homework regularly. Okay, he does his homework regularly. Here, which is the auxiliary verb? Does. Okay, it acts as a main verb. Okay, here does acts as a main verb. Remaining homework. B. Complete the passage with appropriate auxiliary verbs. So, you want to select the correct auxiliary verb from the bracket and fill in the blanks. Okay, it is easy for you. Do it by yourself. C. Fill in the blanks with appropriate modal auxiliary verbs. Okay, fill in the blanks with appropriate modal auxiliary verbs. What are the modal auxiliary verbs we have? Can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should and must. Before do this exercise, remember the usage of modal auxiliaries. Okay. Question. The thief dash run away because the police held him tightly. The thief dash run away because the police held him tightly. Options: could not, can. So which is the correct answer? The thief, yes, could not run away because the police held him tightly. Okay, the thief could not run away because the police held him tightly. Next, dash, you speak French. Dash, you speak French. Options: may, can. So what is the answer? Can you speak French? Okay, can you speak French? Next, one dash always keep one's promises. One dash always keep one's promises. Option: would, should. What is the answer? One should always keep one's promises. Okay, one should always keep one's promises. Next, rewrite the sentences after correcting the errors. Okay, or Mrs. David present today? Here, what the auxiliary verb is used? Are. The auxiliary verb are is used for plural or singular subject. For plural subject only, we want to use the auxiliary verb are. Here Mrs. David is a singular subject. So, we want to use singular auxiliary verb. What is that? What is the answer? Is. Yes. Is Mrs. David present today? Is Mrs. David present today? Okay. Next example. My sister do not give me any present on my last birthday. My sister do not give me any present on my last birthday. Which is the auxiliary verb? Do is given here. Okay. Is this sentence right? No. How? Because the last birthday, that is in, the sentence is in past tense. So we want to use the past tense do form auxiliary verb. What is the past tense do form auxiliary verb? Did. So correct answer is my sister did not give me any present on my last birthday. Okay. Next we are going to see the exercises from the chapter 11 transitive and intransitive verbs. Okay. First one, identify the verbs in each sentence and write if they are transitive or intransitive. Okay, the batsman hit the ball hard. The batsman hit the ball hard. In the sentence, which is the verb? Hit. Okay. Is there an object in the sentence? The batsman hit what? The ball. So, which is the object? The ball. So, there is an object in the sentence. So, it is a transitive verb. So, this verb is a transitive verb. Next, the first bell rings at 7 a.m. Okay, the first bell rings at 7 a.m. Here, which is the verb? Rings. Okay, whether the sentence verb is transitive or intransitive? So, there is no object in this sentence. So, the verb is a intransitive. So, the remaining questions, homework. Okay. Next, underline the verbs in these sentences and identify them as transitive or intransitive. Okay, and then circle the objects of the transitive verbs. So, you want to underline the verbs and then identify them as transitive or intransitive. Okay, and then you want to circle the objects in the sentence. Example, the security guard opened the door. Okay, the security guard opened the door. So, you want to underline the verb. Which is the verb? Opened. So, you want to underline the verb. The security guard opened what? The door. Here, the door is the object. So, you want to circle the object, the door. And then write transitive. Okay, underline the verb opened. Circle the object, the door. And the bracket write transitive. Next, we will participate in the kite festival this year. Okay, we will participate in the kite festival this year. In this, which is the verb? Will participate. So, there is no object in the sentence. So, no need to circle the object. So, underline the verb will participate and then write intransitive. Okay, do the remaining questions homework. Next, circle the verbs in these sentences. Then pick out the complements and identify them as subject complements or object complements. So, first, what are complements? The word or words that are used to complete their meaning are called complements. Okay. Subject complements. Complements that tell us more about the subject of the verb are called subject complements. Objects that tell us more about the objects are called object complements. Question. The quiz master was funny. The quiz master was funny. So here, which is the verb? Was. Okay. Funny, subject, complement. So funny, complement. What type of complement? That is subject complement. It tells more about the subject, the quiz master. Okay. So circle the verb was, funny, subject, complement. Next, we left the parcel untouched. Okay, we left the parcel untouched. Here, which is the verb? Left. Okay, complement, untouched. Okay. We left what? The parcel. So, here the parcel is the object. So, untouched tells about the object, the parcel. So, untouched is the object complement. So, we left the parcel untouched. Left, verb, parcel, object, untouched, object complement. Okay. Next, the teacher handed us the answer sheets. The teacher handed us the answer sheets. Here, which is the verb? Handed. So, the teacher handed what? The answer sheets. That is direct object. The teacher handed the answer sheets to whom? Us. So, us, indirect object. So, there is no complement in this sentence. Okay, just circle the verb handed. Next, circle the direct objects and underline the indirect objects in these sentences. So, you want to circle the direct objects and underline the indirect objects in the given sentences. The direct object answers the question what. Indirect object answers the question to whom. I think it is easy for you to identify the direct and indirect object. So do the exercise by yourself.